You'll need 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, 3 tablespoons of walnut oil. You're going to need a flexible spatula, as well as a whisk and a large mixing bowl. I used just under 1 tablespoon of cane sugar and about half a teaspoon of sea salt, about 1/3 cup of sun-dried tomatoes, 1 whole, large, and ripe avocado, about a cup of dry Orzo pasta. I'm also using a half a cup of spinach that was once fresh, which I normally use for smoothies. I would say that this is optional, but it adds such nice color to the dish that finely chopping even a handful of fresh spinach would work just as well. You'll also need about 2 tablespoons of toasted pine nuts, and lastly some seafood of your choice. I'm using prepared crawfish, but cocktail shrimp or even cubes of salmon would work really well here. Begin by prepping the sun-dried tomatoes. Through trial and error, I found that using a pair of kitchen scissors works best. This makes it easy to snip them into slender pieces. I then add a bit of the water that I already have boiling for the pasta to just cover the tomatoes and soften them up a bit. Next, add the pasta to about 1 liter of already salted boiling water. Give it a brief stir so that it settles evenly in the pot, and then move on to toasting the pine nuts. Hover a pan with the pine nuts in it over the flame or heating element. Once they begin to become glossy, they'll begin to brown and even continue to toast once the heat is off, so keep a close eye on them. You can also prep your dressing at this point. First add the sugar, and then the tablespoon of cider vinegar along with the 3 tablespoons of oil. Give it a vigorous whisk until it all comes together and begins to thicken. After about 10 minutes time, the Orzo pasta should be done, which is something I love about it because it totes the characteristics of rice, but cooks in half the time. And be sure to only drain, not rinse it. Once the Orzo is drained, return it to the same pot that you cooked it in and add the now moistened sun-dried tomatoes and chopped spinach. Stir it together evenly, distributing the tomatoes and spinach. Give your dressing another quick whisk in case any sugar has settled in the bottom, and then transfer the Orzo mix to the mixing bowl with the dressing. Add whatever cooked seafood you wish to add at this point and stir it in. I would suggest covering this with plastic wrap and placing it in the refrigerator to chill for 2 to 3 hours. Next, prep the avocado by first making slits to but not through the skin, and do the same in the opposite direction. Using a spoon, scoop out the avocado, essentially scraping the skin, which will remove the flesh, forming bite-sized cubes. Do the same with the other half. I prefer to add the avocado just before serving, which will help keep it looking fresh. When I do add the avocado, this is also the point at which I add the sea salt. Because the salt by nature draws the water from the avocado, by delaying adding the salt until right before serving will again help to preserve the freshness of the dish. Be sure to gently fold in the avocado just to make sure the cubes stay whole. Taste for salt, or just have a taste if you want, and then transfer the pasta salad to a serving dish. Sprinkle over the pine nuts and garnish with a bit of basil or fresh spinach if you like, and serve. It's a light dish with a bit of sweetness, but the avocado makes it hearty and filling. You can easily omit the seafood and serve it as a side dish, or even use diced chicken instead and switch it up a bit. I hope you give it a try.